All right, and now we're going to NAS is at 24,652. So let's see what NAS is doing. 24. Okay. So almost to 25. Okay, we got a nice sell. Nice. So weird that I don't hear anything. Awfully quiet. And we got, okay, got a 5. Oh, back and forth. That'll crush you right there. 9. Oh, let's see what the open did here. This looks like the open. Oh, that's 10 o'clock. Here we go. So a little fall down. Now, when I see this, traders, right here, I'm on this panel right here on the 1 minute. Um, what do I want to say here? She sold down nice. Now she's okay. Let's talk about this. Um, bought up. What time is this? 10 o'clock. I wonder if there was news. And then sold back down. So what I want to know for myself is when it goes up this high, that's 25 points. So that might not look like a lot, but that is a lot. So it's really good to train your eye to be able to know how many points are between each on your scale over here on TradingView. I'm on TradingView because you could be down here and be like, not really realize how many points are in front of you. And you can have other indicators that will tell you, but I don't know if you do that, but it's very important to train your mind how many points are between each of these price points because then you can kind of gauge how much profit you could possibly get, how much risk you're risking, where maybe to re-enter, what to consider. So I know in my trading, no one's told me that. And it is so very important to be able to know how many points and where the market's at and where it could possibly go. Because when it was right here at this location, that was 24.6, 24.650. So you'd be like, okay, well, I want to go to 24.7. You know, that's 50 points already. So you're working ahead of the race, ahead of the market instead of with the market. All right. Here at the like here, for example, the 2 minute prices at you would say, okay, if it gets to 24,760 is at 724. So that's um let's see, I'm not good with my math, guys. That's 30 points. But that doesn't look far, does it? That's, you know, 40, that's almost 20 points here if it keeps pushing. And you wouldn't necessarily think that's a big deal, but that's a lot if, on whatever contract size you have going on. So that's how that's helpful. And then also comes into play when you want to say, oh, you know what? I'm just going to take it to the EMA here, the prominent support and resistance. I'll just buy up to this location. Well, you need to know how many points that is. So right now we're at 750. That's 50 points. Now this does not look like 50 points, does it? It looks so small. But that's how it's so important. And if you can do that ahead of your other traders, then that's going to give you a really nice edge. I'm not in a trade, so I'm able to calmly see all this information that I wouldn't necessarily be taking into knowing. But what I would be doing is reaching over here to the left and grabbing my measuring tool and seeing how many points that was. I know this is faster for my mind doing that rather than trying to focus on what the number is, where I have to go, um, all of those steps logically and very fast. I'd rather just grab my measuring tool and see it like that. I feel like I can move a lot faster that way. But then if you pull your attention over to here, right here, with my mouse on this panel, the second panel in, see this panel has the different pivot levels. This is support and resistance levels on the 1 minute. And what I normally do is I, ahead of time, find out how many points are between each level, because then you could just say, I'm going to want to go from here to the P4. And I would know those are normally 10 for NAS. Those are normally 10 points between each level. That's how my mind psychologically manages these trades and the market while it's moving. Because if we look here, the 200 EMA on the 2 minute is on the 1 minute with the pivot levels. See, it ends up being, see my cursor here? It ends up being the +2 on the pivot levels. So if you don't have those levels there, you would just know you need to get to this location. But this is more technical. People who like more technical information, you may um, gravitate and be more attracted to this type of information as you're trading, as opposed to just a blank chart. I have learned from my mentor, Ali Allen. She used this information. So I learned off of this. So I'm very comfortable with this type of information on my chart. I do like the naked chart because I can incorporate the information that I've already learned and transfer it over to this naked chart. Whereas people who learn just the naked chart don't realize this data is there as well. And it can actually just give them more information to be able to process your mind. We'd have to look on Chat GPT and find out if more information is beneficial to what type of personality. So that would be an interesting query. All right. Well, the market is moving really well. Um, I'm also recording on my other computer, that I'm recording off of Loom. So it's giving me a different angle. So, and I'm also on a higher time frame look. And so I'd have to show each one what I'm looking at. So let me open that up here. I'm going to open that up on my Loom, this time frame that I'm looking at that I'm recording on Zoom. So I can flip back and forth. And then I'm going to do the opposite here. I'm going to open up what I have on Loom. So you can see what I have on that computer. All right, so this is what's on my other computer that I'm looking at that Loom is recording. And it's recording me too, it's just at a different video angle. I'm going to be doing some editing and putting some stuff together. So this is what, for Loom viewers, this is what my Zoom is recording right now. This is what I'm looking at. And here's the part I was talking about where the 200 on the EMA on the 200 is the location of the +2 on this panel here. See that? Where I move, it's the same number. So that's very helpful. All right, and then over here for you Zoom viewers, this is what's on my Loom that my screen is showing them. This is the higher time frame. Okay, so let me go back to my Zoom 1 minute and just observing what the market's done. And I want to just kind of teach you what I do and what I've learned and just share the knowledge. And if you can share your knowledge with me, that's perfect. I know we can talk about managing life and trading. If y'all don't know me, that's I love to get to know you and share with you my journey of life and trading. I am my home was hit by Hurricane Ian back in Florida in 2022, and for since 2022, it was in October, no, the end of September of 2022. 23, 24, 25, 26. Holy moly. 4 years to rebuild my home. And it has been a full time job. And in that 4 years, I have been trading, I have been building my business. My husband of over 20 years passed away tragically. So I had the grief from that. That just happened about 2 years ago. And I still have the passion to get this trading to work in my favor. Not that it hasn't, but the profitability is more what I'm looking for. And I've noticed that you have to, the guy that owns Top One Futures, he was on one of those podcasts and he was saying, it's hard to do both, run a business and trade at the same time. Just the focus you need. Um, for me, I really need it's, I don't think I have been able to have a 40-hour week of trading in 4 years where all I did was trade 8 hours a day for a week. Or even, I want to say, well, maybe I have 6 hours. I can get in six, I think I've gotten in 6 hours for a day within the 4 years, but I have not gotten in 6 hours without interruption to just do what I have to worry about my house, my life, whatever, for a whole week. And when you're working full time, you are committed to them for your 8 hours. And so you're working for them. And I've had a really hard time dealing with that, being able to be like, dang, if I could just focus on my trading, because then that's going to help, provide the finances I need for the rest of for what I'm doing right now in my season of my life. But God has been my provider and He has sustained me and He has provided for me the resources to be able to rebuild my home full time and work on my trading, build my business. It's been at a sacrifice, a huge sacrifice for me financially, because the money that I am using that I'm not earning from trading, I've been putting into being able to not have a full time job. And it's just a miracle. It truly is. All right. So here, let's look at what the market's doing. NAS has now pushed out and look, she's running to that 200 EMA. Let's look down here. So if you were, for me, this is how my mind works. If I don't want to just be distracted by all this noise and kind of get intimidated and wonder, is it going to make it to the 200? Um, because this like right now it's at 780. Oh, so it has 20 more points to get to the 200. So if you were adamant about getting to the 200, this shorter information can kind of mess you up because you're like, oh, look, it's selling, it's pulling back down. And if you're having a bad trade or you gotten late, you know, and you're already in negative and you're like, oh, I never should have gotten in, but I did get in and now I got to hold it. Is it going to make it here? You have all these different factors and truths coming in through your mind. And this higher time frame, this look here will not intimidate you and make you doubt your decision. In life, I don't I don't know if our well, yeah, we have decisions where they're going to be so crucial in 2 minutes. Is it going to be the right decision or not? But is that decision in 2 minutes or a minute and 24 seconds? Because that's what we have left on this candle. Is it going to be so impactful for maybe by if some traders, this could be a $10,000 trade, $1 million trade. I don't know. Other traders, it could be $800. It could be $50. It could be $10. It could be $5, but it's important to them. So important to where you're just doing your everyday life at 10:25 in the morning. And it's crucial. That's how trading is. And that's what I really enjoy about it. And I just try to compare it to an everyday life situation based on what you're doing. If you're not a NASCAR driver, if you're not a surgeon, these precious moments don't always necessarily be so crucial. So I like my charts to reflect that. I like to have really a lot of information, different looks here. You'll see here I don't have any candles showing. Same as down here on the bottom right. I don't have any candles showing, but I do have the EMAs showing me and telling me what the market's doing. And I make decisions based off of them as well. So is she going to make it to this 200? Goodness gracious. Look at her. She's, not weakening. She's weakening. Some people would be like, you know what? I knew this was going to happen. As you trade a lot, this is the typical type of behavior that um, the market will do. It'll really play around this location. And people are like, well, why? Why is that? Because and I would want to know that too. I'd be like, why is that? Like, why? Why does it react the way it does? And what I have done in a lot of research and answering those type of questions when it comes to support and resistance zones, why is it so attractive? And out of all of my research that I've done on it, it's really because that I can resonate with is that there are so many people out there, businesses, banks, big institutions, big money. Everyone is looking at those zones, and that's a reason why they're so important because everyone is looking at that area. So it's sort of like when you want to go at Christmas time and whatever popular places are in the world, people go there. And that's what makes them so popular because of their reputation, and people know that that's what's going on there. So, like, say for New York, New York Square for the drop of the ball. Well, apply that logic to these locations on the market. People know that that's a popular place, so we all make it that way. Isn't that crazy? So, she is going to dance around. What I like to say also, and I used to say when I coached a lot of traders, I had taken my time off from that when I first, was in my first year of the house being hurt. Um, I would say to them, right now the market is feeling this heat because this EMA, this 200 EMA is giving off a lot of heat, and therefore it's feeling it. The market is feeling it. That's one analogy. You can look at it like that. But if you go to a higher time frame, it as well probably is a strong area of support and resistance right now. That location, what was the number? Let's see, what was the number? It was 24.8. And on top of that, it's a very popular number. It's a round number. So right here, 24.8 is the S2 on the 5 minutes, and that makes sense. 24.8 is another S2. And looky here, strong area support and resistance, all right here. See that? So it's not only the 200 on the 2 minute, but on the higher time frames, it's a very strong area of support and resistance. On our 30-minute, um, it comes up to a very important location as well, right here. You can see the 30-minute as well. All this rejection here, all this attraction. So it's coming up to a very strong area of support and resistance. So people who might not know that, they just know it's a 200 EMA. There is a bigger reason on the higher time frames. And the higher time frames, as you know, carry more weight. It means it's more important, it's more secure, it's more steady, it's more stronger. That zone is going to be very strong. Look at that 24. I don't know what that number says, but it's also the S2 on the 4 hour. So that's a very important location. And she looked like she just went and hit it. Look at that on the 5 minute. Let's see what it looks like here. Yep, boom, she hit. So what happens is traders are going to close their trade. So you'll see maybe on the 15 second some sells because a lot of people are, that's where they wanted to go and they just made a lot of money or they just made their goal. Whereas other traders are still continuing to take it to a higher location. They're going to take it, they're going to be like, I want to go up to here to the S3, 24.9. So this is just a little pit stop for them. They're looking to go up here. They're looking to go up higher. Maybe they want to buy all the way up to this location here, which is the green, is the 50 EMA. Maybe they want to go to the 50 EMA on the 4 hour because they're looking, they're an intraday trader or something, or they just want a higher move, and that's 63 points more. So then you say to yourself, well, is she going to keep pushing up 63 points to this 50 EMA before she pulls back? And that's what you just don't know, but you would know based off of your amount of time in the charts, your hours and years in the charts, and knowing how the market reacts in these type of situations. So here we see on the 5 minute, she is coming up to this next pit stop, support and resistance zone. So we might see a pullback or she's just going to keep pushing. Um, we can see it on this view. See, she has a pullback. And then remember when I was talking about knowing the distance between all of this? Because you're going to want to know, oh, she pulls back down to this location. That's okay. I'll hold that. But if you don't know how much that is, your money is going to show it. So we're at 24,786 and it's at 24,818. So if you're really fast at math, then you'll know what that is. But that's why it's really important. And I have written on my screens how many points are in between each of these levels. So normally they're about 10. And it really is just based on the move of the market. It's really just based on the move of the market because that's how they're recalculated. So in order to measure how many they are, I literally just take my measuring tool, put it here, and then go to the next level. So this is what that looks like. You click it here right on the R6 and you take it up to that next right there. Wow, that is 40 points. So I thought it would be 10 and it's 40. So that's 40 points. Let's see how much it is on the 15 second. 40 points. Holy moly. So you're like, oh, I'll just let it come back here. That's not bad. That's not going to be a lot. That's going to be a lot for you. If you just wait for it to come back down here, that's going to be 40 points that's going to take away from your profit that you have in order to get up to this 50. Remember I said it's 63 more points back up to here. So if that's where you wanted to go, you are, it didn't completely go, so it might pull back 40 points on you. So if you have, right now $400, well, and you were doing $10 per point, and that's 40 points back, that's going to be a 400 of your profits going to go down, whatever your total is. And that's what traders do. They gather all this information, they have it in front of you. Um, I have a cheat sheet right here where it tells me that exact information about how many points I have per point move, that equates to, and if it goes 100, and I have it by 10 points. So I have 100, 110, 120, 130. This sheet tells me how much money that is, so I can quickly see how that's going to help me or hurt me, or, go against my rules that I have for the day. So that's really some great information that I hope it was helpful for you. Um, Maybe you didn't know any of this stuff and now you do. So I would invite you to rewatch this. I'm not quite sure right now. I'm recording it, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to just um, upload it and you just watch it, or I'm going to splice it, or I could splice it anyway. I just really don't know. But what I do know is that I need to make some big moves, big decisions. So I am going to be doing lives again. I'm at a point that I believe I am really good with my house and everything. That I am, the Lord's like, you can now, your schedule's lightening up where you can now really start getting back into your building your business of your trading and helping other traders and doing what I love to do, which is teaching and teaching about trading. Um, so I have a calendar here, and then we get to know each other. Like I said in the beginning of this recording, I kind of share with you who I am and what I've been going through. And I have this calendar here. It's January. It's the January calendar. But guess what year it is? I made it 1/6/2025. So it's over a year old. And on it has the days that I'm going to go live on YouTube. And then I'm also going to share my live scalping. And so I've had this on my desk along with my social media calendar, to remind me that you will get there. And I've worked to get there. I've done what I can. And the reason I'm saying all of this is because don't give up. And if you can have people that can help you, encourage you, if you're an entrepreneur, whatever you are, and you need to help, you need a cheerleader, you know, know that you can do it. My family isn't as much as the cheerleader that I'm really needing. So I'm finding people that can be my cheerleader. And that's hard. It's hard. They don't mean to be like that, um, but they are. So to me, that's what they are. That's how it is right now, and that's okay. Well, it's not okay because it hurts, but I have to keep pursuing on. I have to keep moving on. I have to do what I believe the Lord wants me to do, and so I'm going to do it. But anyway, so now I'm looking at this calendar and I'm super excited about it. So I'm just going to transfer the information over for now for March. We're in March of 2026. So I'm going to be going live at 8:30 in the evenings on Mondays and Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to do market analysis, different information about the market, sort of like what I looked at, we did today. I might do scalping, tips on scalping. There's so much information that I have so much content for that I want to share. I trade Bitcoin and US NAS 100 primarily. Primarily, I really focus on Bitcoin, but I also do NAS. But I am going to be looking at gold because where we're at in the time now. So, I invite you to join. There's so much information out now that it's like a lot of people I've been watching, um, they have their own personality and what people attracts them. So I'm going to trust God that I'll be able to build a tribe, a community, and I'm excited about it. So Let's see what's going on here on the bigger picture of what NAS just did. So it broke over the 200. This is what I would have done. This is how I would have looked at this. Once it broke over this 200, I would have been like, oh, is she going to continue on? Then I'd look at this 5 minute and wait for the next 5 minute candle to see what happens. Now, up here at this 800, I really think she's going to be done there. Maybe have that pullback. But like again, remember we see how important that is. It says it's 848 or 850. That's 50 more points back up to that location. Is she going to be able to make it there before a pullback here on the lower time frames? And remember, these were 40 points between each other. You know what I'm going to do too? I'm going to see, and this takes time, which I don't really want to do, but it would be cool to have, is it just tell you how much is between each two automatically. But that'll probably take longer to put all together than just do it real quick. But yeah, look at this. We have a pullback. Now these are 20 points each, so this is 20, 40. So we have like a 40-point pullback it just did. Look at that. About 40 points. You could have took that pullback and made it the money off of just the pullback. All right. Well, that was fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause, get some coffee, and then come back and we can talk some more. Okay, I did hit resume and I decided that what I'm going to do is just make a new recording. So join me on the next recording. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an analysis on Bitcoin on the higher time frames because I'd like to take a trade this week, this upcoming week, for it to be an intraday trade. So let's do that together.